Good morning, everyone. Today is October 10th, 2023. Definitely fall. Little brisk sweater weather. Look at La Pera. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning.
Morning.
What are we doing today? When are those trees going to start turning? Do we have a foliage chart for Anthony's backyard? When is peak foliage?
I don't know. The leaves are falling, though. So I picked them up. So, yeah, they're falling.
Pick them up. Is that a manual job? You got a rider for that? How do you pick them leaves?
Yeah, I got a rider for that.
Shocker.
Yeah, we're going to mulch that up and then let it just go into the bag on its own. So,
Thomas, how was your weekend?
It was good. Excellent weekend. No complaints from my end.
Yeah. We had officially, I would call it the worst Steelers victory in my Steeler watching. So I guess a win's a win, but boy, was that bad.
Depends who you talk to, I guess. Personally, I'm a glass half full guy. I think it was the best because they played the worst and we won.
No, you're absolutely wrong. Maybe because you were there, you didn't get to see it on TV.
I slept through the first, 49 minutes. I slept.
Do you want me to show you the first 9 possessions? Punt, field goal, punt.
It'd be roon, pass, poont.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just keep carrying on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But
yeah, there's no firing. No firing yesterday. I didn't wake up to any firing today. Me personally, I hope Tomlin's listening. I think he's on the chopping block because he has no control over anybody. There's a stale environment going on down there.
I have heard Coach T is a big chatter listener, so I'm sure he is listening this morning. So before you get watching that film, Coach, get your head out of your butt.
It's stale. It's like a bag of Doritos from July, brother. Get it together.
It is my favorite time of the podcast where Anthony turns into Jesus. So this will be amazing. I love this. But guys, before we get into it, I got to pay our respects and everything that happened this weekend. Sickening over in Israel. I hope every terrorist in the world dies. I hope they hear that. I hate terrorists. I hate you all. You all deserve to die. So there's my statement on the matter. That's it. Yeah. Markets open back up today. We'll see what happens here with the markets regarding world events.
I believe our rates will fall today.
I know. Yeah. But getting into things, we're going to talk about today what not to do when you're buying a home. Everyone wakes up one morning, says, hey, I want to buy a home. They go on their life, and there's some things that a buyer can do during the process that frankly can make life difficult, can deny them for the loan after they were approved, and really can cause major headaches. So we're going to go through those today. We're going to kind of do a round table, go around the horn. I'll be Tony Reale here and just go over a few. So the first one, number one on the board, number one thing not to do when buying a home is to shop for a home without a pre-approval. I mean, that has to be one of one. If you're going around shopping for a home without a pre-approval, or you're a real estate agent showing someone a house without a pre-approval, you're just flipping that coin. Boom, hope it works. I mean,
kind of like putting Gunner back to return punts. Flipping that coin.
Yeah, maybe he'll fumble. Maybe he won't. Probably will. Just because you think someone qualifies, you have a perception of a buyer. Yet, why not go through the pre-approval process? It's good for 4 months. Normally, when a buyer is seriously shopping, they're going to find a home within 4 months, hopefully. So the whole excuse of I don't want to get my credit pulled is kind of lame. It's part of the gig. You got to do it once, get it done. It barely affects your score. Everyone needs to grow up about it and get a pre-approval as soon as possible.
No disagree there.
All right. Jesus, you have anything to say?
100%.
Okay.
Totally agree.
We do pre-approvals. Us three on the screen do pre-approvals.
Crazy. Yeah. But you know what's one thing, Tom? They don't all take 10 minutes. And it is work. So like a pre-approval
unfortunately working on
this thing that exists. It is work. So whenever it's like, hey, can we get this pre-approval? I'm heading back to the office to write up an offer. Sometime that may be okay. Sometimes it won't. Don't get mad at me when they're self-employed. I need a bunch of documents and you're not writing up that offer. Not my fault.
I unfortunately had this happen to me on Friday. Somebody came to me around noon on Friday to get pre-approved, to put an offer in on a house, and I'm still working on it because they're not all as easy as they look.
The best part is the self-employed buyer that wants to get pre-approved right away, that you say you need a bunch of documents and they'll get upset at you. Oh my God, I don't know where that stuff is. Well, listen, I'm just doing my job here. So I mean, it is what
just
it is. Because
somebody drives a Beamer or a Benz doesn't mean they could be pre-approved for a house.
Amen. You should put that on a bumper sticker.
At the end of the day, they're trying to borrow money, and we need to know if they're a high-risk client. So,
yeah,
and they're going to repay it.
Yeah. And what's number 2?
Number 2 is opening up new credit accounts. You know, during the process, everybody's thinking about furniture, fridge, stove, all the appliances, but they want to sign up for that credit card to save 10%. That 10% might lose you the house. So, you know, ultimately, if you open up a new credit card, we got to use that new debt against you in your monthly debt to income ratio, which is what we calculate to show that you can repay the mortgage within guidelines of the debt ratio requirements. So wait until you're clear to close. Ultimately, we'd love to say, hey, wait until you buy anything after closing, but wait till you're clear to close, everything's finalized, and then you can at least start looking, at least put a down payment. You can put a down payment on something if you're looking at buying it, so that they can hold it until that time before opening it up a new credit card. So,
yeah, I mean, guys, we all know this. Some buyers are easily qualified. If they add a debt, it's not going to affect their qualification. There are some buyers that have gone all the way up to their max debt to income ratio. If they sneeze an extra dollar a month on a debt, they may not qualify. I mean, it can literally be that close sometimes. So adding a debt, $50, $60, $100, $200 a month can absolutely destroy that loan, deny the buyer last second. And the reason that happens, maybe the credit's expiring. Maybe we're getting close to that 120-day deadline. Maybe, who knows? Maybe one of our investors did an extra pull as a quality control, and now something like that happens. Do not go and open up new lines of credit without talking to one of us if you're purchasing a home, especially after the pre-approval. You got to tell us if something changes by the time you get pre-approved and the time you buy the house, because it's going to be found out.
Yeah, we don't monitor your credit. We pull your credit, but it doesn't get real-time monitoring. So you have to let us know.
I think that is a big misconception, Tom. Like once it's pulled, it automatically updates. It's a still shot, right? We pull it at that time, and that's what we can use for 120 days. Then after 120 days, we pull another still shot. And if something has been added or a debt has changed or a monthly payment has changed, now what we see new can absolutely affect that pre-approval.
For sure.
Tom, carry us on.
I'll take now number 3. I'll just continue on with the accounts thing. Don't close your accounts as well as open new ones, because when you do close an account, whether it be a credit card, paying off a car, a collection, that's going to get rid of that high balance debt or revolving debt, which will drive your score down in the beginning. It may come back up after 4 to 6 months, but it's going to instantly drop your score when you close an account. So we don't want to open any new ones. We don't want to close any accounts. Closing an account could hurt you even more than opening a new one, because it could drop that score or hurt somebody very bad that has good credit and a ton of wiggle room with their debt to income. So closing an account could be a very traumatic experience if it is the wrong account and your credit score is low enough where it could drop below a threshold.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those items where when you originally pre-approve a buyer, the first thing they want to do once we start talking credit is, close this, pay that. Take a breath, because the credit score, it's a fickle game that we play with the credit score. It doesn't always make sense of how their algorithms work. So if you do, close that account or do something without talking to us, it can drop your score quickly. Like Tom said, there may be ways that we can bring your score back up, but I've had it happen. A buyer kind of went rogue. They thought they were helping themselves, and they hurt themselves because they're just messing with that algorithm. So make sure you talk to us for sure. And I'm going to continue on, Tom, with banks. Everyone's allowed to have their own bank. West Penn Financial is not going to tell you where to keep your money. I think a lot of buyers would be pretty upset with that. When you're buying a home, you need to understand your bank's rules and regulations. If you're changing banks, you need to let us know, because now there's new accounts. There might be transfers. There might be things. But the biggest thing that happens that I see is a buyer uses a bank that doesn't have a branch in the area. Then we get close to closing. Like, Ryan, my bank won't send me a certified check. Guys, we don't work for those individual banks. No way do I know, anyone knows what their rules and regulations are. You have to get in contact with your bank as soon as possible during the process, especially if they don't have a local branch, to figure out, are you wiring? Are you hopping on a train back home somewhere to go to the local bank to pick up that check? We've all been through that before. But you have to get
that
into
happens.
that.
I mean, sometimes there's no way around it. People had to fly home before, my borrowers. It happens. It's avoidable, but it does
Until
happen.
recently, there was not Bank of America's, there was not Wells Fargo's, there was not these branches in Pittsburgh. I don't even know if there is a Wells Fargo yet.
I don't think there is. I think there's only a few Bank of Americas, and some of the Bank of Americas. I know the Bank of America in Robinson. You walk in there, there's no tellers. You literally cannot get your money out.
Yeah, that's a weird part of it, where you just have to, the buyers will come back to us because they're panicking, and it's like, we will help work through it, but there's no way for us to know your credit union or your bank's rules and guidelines about how much they let you wire, if you have to be in person, if they need a certified check, whatever it may be. You kind of got to work through that sooner than later.
Yeah, we're not the manager of all these different banks running those.
Absolutely not. All right, Anthony, what else are we up to? You're next, I believe.
Big purchases.
Ooh.
So I think it goes hand in hand with, opening up new accounts in a sense, but some people, they see that new house, they see that big driveway, and they could see like a new vehicle in that new driveway.
Always the vehicle. What is it with buying a new car when you want to buy a house?
Yeah. So, ultimately, and on the same token, I don't think a lot of people understand, like, there is so many data points and data checks, fraud alerts, that a lender has to run during the process, all the way up through closing with verifications, and if something pops up where we have to refresh a report, or something of that nature, we have to add that payment in there. Just hold tight, be patient. The process is only 30, 45 days. You don't have to add another $750 a month payment of debt. Just relax, talk to your loan officer about your debt ratio and your current debts. And if there's wiggle room, we can certainly let you know that, but just don't go out and just start doing things because, somebody the neighbor has a nicer car. Just wait. You can buy the nicer car after you buy that house and put it in your driveway.
Well, here's my biggest thing. Would you rather have a house or a nice car? Like, the way I'm thinking at it, even now with interest rates going up, if you can't afford the house you want, and we all know these car payments are crazy. It's like a regular car costs you $700 a month. Like, I feel like you can't have a $200 or $300 car payment anymore.
I saw a $1,224 a month payment on a $70,000 car the other day.
So here's my theory. Sell your car, pay it off, buy a beater if you have to. I don't know if that's proper word choice, but buy a beater. Imagine if you knocked off a $600-700 debt and turn that into what you could put towards a house. Like now you got a house. Sure, you don't got as nice of a car. It's a car. They all do the same thing, guys. They get you from one place to the other. That's it. Now you got your house. Now you work, you have the beater for a couple years. You work back up to the nice car. In a couple years, life is great. You got a great house. You got a car. You can't do that, though, with a debt-to-income ratio when you're qualifying for a mortgage. So if the economy is hurting, if interest rates are going up, we can work with buyers to figure out what makes most sense. If it's like, hey, home ownership is what I got to do. This is the best thing for my future. What can I do? Sell the damn car.
Yeah, give me a call. I know some places I get you a house cheaper than a car.
Love that. Love that. And Tom, what is the number one thing I think we definitely see that will deny a loan during the process?
Do not change your job.
Do not.
Do not get a new job. Do not change your job. Is it possible? Yes. Do we want to see it? No. One misconception of that is somebody gets a promotion within the same company, and that's not really a job change unless they're changing how they're getting paid. And that is the big stipulation of changing the job, is how you actually get paid. If a borrower is going from hourly rate to another hourly rate or a salary, yes, most often we can use that, and that won't be an issue. However, if they're going to commission, maybe they go into some type of sales job, commission bonus, that is going to be a major issue for us. So we do need a 2-year history for commission. We need a 2-year history for bonus. We also need a 2-year history if you're a nurse and go from 40 to 32 hours a week. So be sure you know what's going on. Talk to us, talk to your loan officer, and know your job. And if you're thinking about changing it, please run it by us, because you might be waiting 2 years.
It's crazy. I mean, Tom, you always talk about it. The guidelines for these mortgages are what, like this thick, thousands of pages?
Yeah,
like,
it's as big as my index finger.
It's crazy, the rules and regulations in the mortgage world when it comes to employment and income. And if it's variable income or fixed income, it can be crazy. So you really, if there's any sort of job change or income change from the time you get pre-approved to the time you get that offer accepted, you have to talk to your loan officer, or you're looking to cause yourself headache and heartache down the road, because you're going to get denied because you decided not to tell the loan officer, hey, I switched jobs or I switched the pay. We reach out to every employer. By law, we have to get a verification of employment for a mortgage. So it's going to be found out, guys. Just let everyone know sooner than later.
Mm-hmm. That was good stuff. Good tips there. I mean, everybody needs to hear that.
Yeah, we went way too long. I think this is the longest episode ever. We're setting records, but great cool. Tuesday, boys. 6 great facts to know. Get them out to your buyers. If you're real estate agents, if you're buyers, hope you learned something, and give one of us a call with any questions you have.
Yeah. Prayers to everybody over in the Middle East, Israel, Absolutely. West Bank, Gaza. Hope
God
you guys
bless
all
the United States
safe.
and our allies. That's all I have to say.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.
Later.